teleprompter create videos you're proud of. Easily trim your video by selecting the words where you want to start and end. Color your presentation with automatic subtitles and highlighting keywords. Add your brand logo. Add music for an emotional touch. Add your contact info on an animated business card on all your videos. Easily replace green screen with an image or a video loop. Stand out with a web page with your logo, your video at the center, and personalized button for visitors to interact. It's one tap to simultaneously upload your videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Always know what to say next with the Big View teleprompter.
And hello. We are thrilled you are joining us today for our session, How to Increase the Eyeballs on and Engagement with the Content You Create Using AI. It's a great topic, and I know you'll get a lot out of this. I'm your host today, Cheryl Tan. As we get started, let me know where you are joining us from and how you are currently using AI in your marketing. What's working for you? What tools are your favorites right now? Hello, Andra. Hello, TR, who is in the chat right now. Hello, Dr. Pugh, who is from Minnesota. So just please let us know where you're joining us from. We're excited to have you here with us today. As I mentioned, TR, our guest expert is Wall Street Journal award winner TR Garland. He ended his career working for corporate by selling $40 million deals to companies like Honda, Netflix, Jenny Craig, E-Trade, and even Walmart. Today, he's focused on helping coaches, consultants, and course creators sell their services on social media without ruining their reputation, using nothing but their free social media profiles. His clients go from averaging less than 5 comments on their own social media posts to more than 100 comments and even 1,000 video views within the first 4 weeks of applying TR's tactics. The end result? More cash in their own bank account because of more calls on their own calendar. He's the former VP for Michael E. Gerber during the 25th anniversary of the E-Myth, who now helps entrepreneurs operationalize their outreach so that they can systematically sell more on social at scale using the 3 A's: automation, AI, and authenticity. Now, as you have questions for TR today, maybe you've got some comments, post them in the chat. I'll make sure that he has the chance to respond to those comments. In the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a former TV journalist turned media trainer. I work with corporate executives to help them develop their public speaking skills on stage and on camera. And I believe, like TR does, that relationships always come first, not transactions. Stay with us until the very end because TR is going to be sharing a giveaway you don't want to miss. So TR, welcome. We have so much to talk about. Thank you for joining us here today.
It is my honor and privilege. And may I please start off by simply giving respect where respect is due. My bio was long and you effortlessly were able to introduce me. So thank you so much. And thank you to Ben and Victor and Susie and Jan and Shakita and Marianne and everybody who is here to have this friendly conversation with us today.
This is going to be a fun crew, right? You can already tell, you can already feel the energy. And you alluded to it. Your bio is long, and it probably is even longer than you gave me. You've got so much experience in so many different sectors. I wanted to just start out by asking, how do you put all of these pieces together to come up with your specialties in automation, AI, and authenticity?
Thank you very much for asking that question up front. I don't want to delve too much deeper on my background. I actually prefer to add as much value and engage with the audience as much as possible. With that said, I want to honor you and answer the question in attempting to set the stage for this friendly conversation that we're going to be having today. In short, I myself couldn't wait to get out of college and get into the business world. I was driven myself, and by the time I was 23 years old, I was ranked number 3 out of a nationwide sales force. By the time I was 27, I was ranked number 9 out of an international sales force. And by the time I was 30, I was burned out working for the man. right? I was busting my
Mhm.
buns and I felt like there was something more in life. And so what I did was I took my professional experience working in corporate and I was able to transition that experience and become a very, very successful business consultant. And I've always thought in terms of how can I use my passion and my skill for understanding high technology or highly complex strategies and simplify them. So I believe that the best thing for everybody to do right now is find the comment section and type in the letters KISS. And Cheryl and I want to let you know that we are going to encourage you to keep it simple, sweetheart. We are going to have a friendly conversation today. We're going to talk about mindset and we're going to introduce you to skill set. And I can't wait to get started.
I love it. I'm typing it in the chat right now to remind myself as well as everyone else. So
And
I'll
yeah,
let you take it
Kimberly
away.
and Dr.
And
Sunny and Ben and everybody. Yes, keep it
great.
simple, sweetheart.
Definitely. I'll let you take it away. And if there are any questions that people have that they want to post in the chat, please feel free to do so. And I will make sure to relay that along to you, TR.
Super stuff. I appreciate it. All right, Bruno, if we could share my slides. There we go. All right. As you already know, because you got the reminder from YouTube, you got the reminder from Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, you may have gotten the reminder from the Big View app. Today's conversation is going to be about how to increase the eyeballs on and engagement with the content that you are creating using AI. And in the 45 minutes that we have together, I don't have the time to fill it with fluff. It is in your best interest, Andra, Shakita, Daphne. It's in your best interest for me to go straight to the meat and potatoes. Prior to going to the meat and potatoes, please allow me to point out that when I was invited by Big View to teach this webinar workshop on this very timely topic, I had a choice. And the choice was I could be a typical presenter, a typical person that pulls together a PowerPoint, and I could have a presentation and I could talk to you, or I could do what's in your best interest, which is open up a friendly conversation on a very timely topic. And I chose the latter. And as Cheryl had mentioned, she will be your surrogate. I can see everybody's comments on the right-hand side of the screen. So technology is working perfectly today. And I just want to encourage you that Cheryl is acting as your surrogate. She will ask questions that maybe some of you will benefit from. So thank you, Cheryl, for being here and helping me with this webinar workshop. And so I alluded to the fact that I want as much interaction and engagement as possible. It fuels me, it gets me excited, and I actually deliver more value when I see more comments in the comment section. So keep them coming. And what I want to do to entice you to engage is, hey, let's start off with a question. So the question is, today, there may be people on this webinar that are actually coaches, consultants, course creators, or maybe you are a service-based professional who uses content, who creates content to expand your exposure and amplify your authority. So the slide is irrelevant for this question right now. Please find the chat box, find the comments, and answer this question. What title do you associate with most? Do you think of yourself as a coach, a consultant, a course creator, or a service-based professional who may use creating content to increase awareness about their product, program, or professional service? So just coach, consultant, course creator, and or a service-based professional. Just type that into the chat box, type that in the comments, because the more data that I acquire up front, the more data-driven decisions I can make to cater today's conversation to your specific needs. So Wayne is a service-based professional. Elizabeth is. Ben's a consultant. Cheryl's a consultant. Birth a Nation is consultant. Okay, so thank you for starting this engagement, this interaction. As you can see, I'm already excited. Now, let's focus on the question that you see on your screen right now. After you create your content, whether it's from scratch, whether it's using ChatGPT or even using Big View's brand new AI script writing feature, which of the following scenarios will have a higher chance of helping you to sell more of your products, programs, or professional services? Now, Bruno, if you can put me on the screen right now, I'm going to share scenario number 1, 5 eyeballs. Would you rather have 5 eyeballs on the content you create, or would you rather have 50 eyeballs on the content you create?
That
Answer
one.
that question in the comment section right now. And
So is that like
Cheryl,
choice number 2? Is that what we call it? Or
option
eyeball
1, option 2, just type in 5 or 50.
50. Okay, I'm
Type
just
in
go ahead and
5 or
type that in
50.
right now.
There we
Mhm.
go. Bertha Nation Network has, I believe, the right answer that serves them best. 50 eyeballs, 50 eyeballs. Hans is already adding some humor into
Andrew
it,
said
saying,
500. Yeah, I'm on
there
that.
we
I'm
go.
put there too.
I was just going to
500.
say, Hans said, depends whose eyeball it is. So Hans is entering some humor into the conversation today. Love, 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 love it. Okay, let's go back to the slides. Thank you so much. So if you answered 50 eyeballs is going to help your chances of being seen faster and easier, of helping you sell more of your product, program, or professional services, then you are in the right place. So thank you and welcome. Based on my experience, as Cheryl alluded to, and as she asked me at the very beginning of this conversation, I have been an entrepreneur for 3 decades. And I've been a business consultant who helps entrepreneurs build their business online for the last 15 years. And what I've done is I've identified 3 specific stages of entrepreneurship. Stage number 1 is the startup stage. Stage number 2 is the stability stage. And stage number 3 is the scalability stage. Now, let me explain, provide a definition according to my experience, what each of those specific stages are. And then I'm going to ask you to find the chat box and type in which stage you believe you're in today. In other words, self-select yourself for what specific stage of entrepreneurship you are in today. So let's talk about stage number 1. Stage number 1 is startup. And it's typically someone who has yet to hit that sometimes elusive 6-figure mark. So we don't always tie it to revenue. However, revenue is an indicator. It's a KPI or a key performance indicator. So the startup stage is someone that's in a startup stage. They are typically a solopreneur, meaning they're wearing all the hats, and they're typically have yet to reach that 6-figure mark. So that's the startup stage. The second stage is the stability stage. So the stability stage is where someone has been able to, whether out of true grit or finally figuring some things out, they've been able to accomplish 3 months in a row of $8,000 to $10,000 in revenue. In other words, things have stabilized compared to the feast and famine that most other entrepreneurs are experiencing. So if you're in the stability stage, type in stability. And the third stage of entrepreneurship that I've identified based on my experience is the scalability stage. It's someone that has passed the stability stage, meaning they've already stabilized revenue 3 months in a row of $8,000 to $10,000. They've already broken that 6-figure mark, and they're looking at going at multiple 6 figures and or breaking into the 7-figure mark. So I'm seeing a lot of people typing in scalability, a lot of people typing in startup as well. So thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Dr. Peggy. Thank you, Dr. Sunny and Susie. I appreciate you interacting with me today. So moving right along, what I want to do is ask this question. And Cheryl, feel free to chime in as well.
Sure.
What do you believe that it takes to move from stage 1 to stage 2? And then from stage 2 to stage 3. What do you believe? What's the first thing that pops into your mind that you believe it takes to move from stage to stage?
I believe it's got to be great offers. So
Okay.
great offers and raving fans.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else care to share and type into the chat box? What do you believe it takes to move from stage to stage, from startup to scalability, or excuse me, from startup to stability, and then from stability to scalability? Let's just get one or two answers. There we go. Mindset.
That's
Daphne
good.
said mindset. Okay. So Cheryl has offers. Daphne says mindset. And let's get one other person to engage with us at minimum. Okay. Wayne says money. It takes money. Fair enough. All right. So while those are coming in, if we could go back to the actual slides themselves, thank you so much. So based on my experience, and everybody is correct. Cheryl, you're correct. Hans, you're correct. Delivering value, solving real problems for real fees. Cornell says consistency. Everybody is correct. And what I found is that, oh, you know what? Here's how I'm going to answer that question. Do you recognize the man that you see on your screen right now? Not the one on the right. That should look very familiar to me right now. Do you recognize the man that's sitting down on the stool right next to me? Cheryl, hold tight. I want to see if someone could type it into the chat box. Does anybody recognize this man? Out of curiosity, do you know who I'm standing there with? We'll give it a little bit more time, and then Cheryl will give you a stab at this as well. Do you recognize who that is? Okay, they're still coming in, so there might be a delay. Cheryl, do you know who that is? Do you recognize? All right, Susie said Colonel Sanders. Great choice, right?
Yep, great choice.
Bertha Nation says no. And so let's go with okay, there we go. And we got a lot of jokesters in the chat today, and that's okay. We're here to have fun. Nation says Wolf Blitzer. All right, so we don't have any correct answers yet. Cheryl, do you know who it is?
I think knowing is it Michael Gerber?
There we go.
Okay,
Yes,
I
it
know because of
is.
your history and the work you've done, and yeah, Michael Gerber. Yes.
There we go. Yes, and yes. Congratulations. Ding, 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 ding. Inc. magazine recognizes Michael E. Gerber as the world's #1 small business expert because he suggests that successful businesses are built by creating systems that allow them to scale more effortlessly and efficiently. And as the former vice president for Michael E. Gerber during the 25th anniversary of the iconic entrepreneur book, The E-Myth, I understand the importance of setting up systems. So from my perspective, systems will help you move from stage to stage. And today I'm going to introduce each and every one of you to my proven and proprietary systems to help you increase the eyeballs on and engagement with the content that you create and post on social media. Moving right along, what I've done is I've identified 3 types of marketing methods that entrepreneurs can use to build their business. Marketing method number 1 is budget-based marketing method. Marketing method number 2 is an education-based marketing method. And marketing method number 3 is a referral-based marketing method. So let's dig a little bit deeper into marketing method number 1. In simple terms, I'm going to assume that nobody on this call has $1 million or a $10 million marketing budget. And that is why you may be here to learn from me, to learn from Cheryl, and to learn from all the experts that Big View brings into this workshop series. So budget-based marketing methods, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's advertising campaigns, and you do need money in order to succeed in using this particular marketing method. So in order to dig a little bit deeper into marketing method number 2, I'm going to ask another question. Does anybody recognize the gentleman on the right-hand side of the screen? He should look familiar, and he's tied to the personal development industry. Does anybody, and we're going to go into the chat. We are monitoring it feverishly because we want to engage and interact as much as possible. There we go. Dr. Sunny, Susie, and Nations Insurance Advisors. Tony Robbins. Yes. Next question. Do you know who Tony has his arm around? Does anybody recognize that gentleman right there? We'll give this a short amount of time because this is a tough one. Does anybody recognize who he's got his arm around? And while we're waiting for that, Cheryl, do you have a clue? Do you know who he's got his arm around right there?
I don't know. I imagine it's probably his right-hand man that probably
Okay.
puts together his content, but I don't know who that is.
There we go. It's close. So
Okay.
Tony has his arm around Chet Holmes. Tony
Okay.
built his business in the personal development industry. And when he chose a business partner to build out his business, meaning personal development, he already had handled. When he entered into the professional development industry and created Business Breakthrough International, he chose Chet Holmes as his business partner. And Chet has an absolutely amazing book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. And Chet has introduced a concept in this book that you can see on the right-hand side of the slide right now. And this concept may look familiar because other people may have used it to teach you about how to attract audiences. So let me just quickly go through this. At the very, very top of this buyer's pyramid is the fact that studies have been conducted and only 3% of your prospects, of the people out there that are coming across your content, are ready to buy now. Then the blue is that 6 to 7% are open to considering you and or your professional service as a solution to their problems. Then we go to 30%, they're kicking the tires. They're not necessarily thinking about it. The next 30% is they don't think that they're interested in hearing from you and or hearing about how you can help them solve their problems. And the last 30%, they know that they're not interested. So this is something that is often introduced to entrepreneurs to teach them to niche down. In simple terms, it's teaching them and to niche down and be very, very specific and say that it's okay if only 3% are ready to buy right now. So for the context of today's conversation, marketing method number 2, education-based marketing really in today's environment could be synonymous with content campaigns. Creating content using ChatGPT, using Big View's brand new AI assistant script writing feature, and creating content and creating content marketing campaigns. So moving right along, let's introduce you and dig a little bit deeper into marketing method number 3, which is referral based. I'm going to ask another question. So I am there with my daughter when she was very, very young. And then I'm standing with a gentleman and his wife. Cheryl and or anyone else, do you recognize who that gentleman is? Out of curiosity.
I'm looking closer, TR. I'm trying to get close so I can see. Your daughter is adorable.
Thank you.
No, I have no idea who that is.
All right. So that is Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, Business Network International.
Okay.
Business Network is the largest organized networking company in the world that has many, many millions of members in many, many different countries. And I was blessed and privileged to be asked by Ivan to partner with him in another company called the Referral Institute over a decade ago. And we brought the Referral Institute, which was a coaching and consulting company that taught people how to build their business using referrals with the Referral Institute. So I just want to draw some context to the conversation, share with you that I know a thing or two about referral-based marketing, and that is marketing method number 3. Asking for referrals, and it doesn't always need to be asking another professional at a local chamber of commerce or an online networking group. It could be doing such a darn good job for your current clients that your current clients feel compelled to pass you a referral to a potential prospect so that you can get more business. So moving right along, I want to say news flash, right? News flash. Can everybody please type news flash into the comment section where you're viewing this right now? Because I'm about to share with you a news flash. And that news flash is you're not the only one who is selling your product or professional service. Now, Cheryl, I want you to make your best shocked face. right? I know it's shocking for you to hear this reality, everybody, that you're not the only person who is selling your product or professional service, right? And
I know that's pretty sad, isn't it?
because you are not the only person offering your product, program, or professional service out there, I know that some of you are sitting there saying, TR, how can I overcome this problem? I am facing reality. I know that I'm not the only individual out there that is a consultant or is a coach or is a content creator or a service-based professional on my topic. So what I'm going to do is dig a little bit deeper into answering this question for each and every one of you today. And I want to do it by introducing you to 3 simple steps to adding 6 figures to your business in the next 6 months. So step number 1 is create conversion-centric content. Step number 2 is figure out a way to get more comments on that content. And step number 3 is figure out a way to take those comments that you're getting on your content and turn them into calls on your calendar. I want to take a trainer time right now and acknowledge I am aware that I am repeating things. Hope, Shakita, Kimberly, Daphne, Jing, Anne Marie, I am aware that I'm repeating things. I happen to know that when I repeat things, you remember things. And I don't want this to be just something that you enjoy, something that you nod your head and go, that's interesting. I want you to remember what we're introducing you to today. Okay? So let me repeat it one final time, and then we will move forward. So step number 1 to creating 6 figures in the next 6 months, an additional 6 figures to your business bottom line in the next 6 months is create conversion-centric content. Step number 2, comments on that content. And step number 3, calls on your calendar. So let's put this into perspective as it relates to the timely topic that Big View has brought me in front of you today to talk about, which is how to increase the eyeballs on and engagement with the content that you're creating. So let's paint a picture in your mind right now, and let's put this into perspective. Everyone is a baker. Everyone is a baker. Please type that into the comments section. Everyone's a baker. And here's what I mean. With ChatGPT being released late last year, with many competitors to ChatGPT, with the ability of Big View's brand new feature and functionality, the AI assistant scriptwriter, other people have access to creating content. And Cheryl and I briefly spoke before today, and what I shared with her is that I personally believe that content is becoming a commodity. Content is becoming a commodity because everyone's a baker. Everybody can do it. So here's where we're going to add a little flavor, and pun intended. So knowing what frosting and sprinkles to use and put on your content cupcake is what's going to set you apart, right? If you have a screenshot feature where you can take a picture of the slides, I would take a picture of this slide right now. Jing, Anne-Marie, Daphne, Cornell, Leanne, take a picture of the slide because this will remind you that it is your sole goal to figure out what frosting and what sprinkles to use that will attract your audience to pay attention to you as a possible solution to their problem. In other words, the frosting and the sprinkles are what's going to set you apart. And for the sake of today's conversation, let's assume that everyone's content is the same. In other words, plain vanilla cupcake, plain vanilla content cupcake as well. All right. So is everybody having fun yet? Type into the chat box if you like that analogy, if you like that metaphor, if it assisted you in really understanding more about the shifting marketplace now that AI has literally been built into and baked into entrepreneurship.
Hey,
So
TR, can I just pop in real quick and just
please.
say that Andra said that when you were talking earlier about repeating, which is a good thing, repeating the things that you're talking about, saying that the average person has to hear things 3 times before it sticks. And so they're loving the repetition, loving it.
Thank you.
Just loving
Wonderful.
the constant, not the constant, but the continual repetition of what you're saying. It's starting to stick. It's
Well,
starting to stick with everybody? Like, is it?
that warms my heart to see that Andra understands and that Andra is engaging. Because truthfully, Andra and everybody else that has made the effort to have their fingers find their keyboard and type in and engage with us, this is for you. This is our time together. And it thrills me that you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? It's absolutely exciting for me. And I appreciate your engagement. So some of you may be sitting there like Paul, or Kaisak or Shakita or trucking safety and compliance, right? You may be sitting there now that we're at this stage in our conversation today, asking this question out loud. How can I get more eyeballs on and engagement with what I'm posting? If you want an answer to that question, go ahead and say yes or hell yes or TR. I've been asking that same question, and I will move forward and introduce you all to a fourth marketing method. The fourth marketing method is the engagement-based marketing method. Engagement-based marketing method. And this is my proven and proprietary process for getting more eyeballs on and engagement with the content you create using AI. And the engagement-based marketing method, it's got a primary premise behind it. And the primary premise is the more you engage with other people's posts, the more they will engage with yours. Makes sense, doesn't it? Treating people like real people instead of treating them like transactions. So let's now talk about what social selling really means. The reality is, as Cheryl alluded to, my background, my bio, I could have added paragraphs upon paragraphs. Sometimes I'm called a social selling strategist. Sometimes I'm called a social media marketing mentor. At the end of the day, I understand business and I know how to help entrepreneurs build their businesses. And so if you want to be successful in today's marketplace, stay right there and listen to us having a friendly conversation about what social selling really means. So to answer this question, what does social selling really mean? I'm going to encourage you to perform a reality check with me right now. Because whether you know it or not, you're actually selling yourself every single time you go online. Yeah, every single time you go online, you're selling yourself as someone who your potential prospects could and should consider as a viable solution. Every single time you go online, you're selling yourself as someone who your potential partners could and should consider promoting for. And every single time you go online, you're considering yourself as someone who people with podcasts or other platforms like LinkedIn Lives or Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, or even publishing directly live on YouTube like Big View is doing right now. In other words, you're selling yourself as someone with a platform who could and should consider inviting you onto their platform. So question, now that I've identified prospects, partners, and people with podcasts as some categories that you could place your connections into, is this making sense so far? Cheryl, tell me, do you believe as a surrogate of everybody who's watching this live and everybody who's going to watch the replay, is this making sense so far?
I really think they're tracking with this. I think your message of creating relationships and then adding this component of connecting in the comments, and I know you're going to tell us how we can do this more effectively. I think it's starting to track, right? You have to have a business with an offer that makes sense for the audience, that makes sense for it. But then what you're talking about is content. And in the chat earlier, many of our audience members were talking about using ChatGPT to create content itself. So the cupcake. And now you're helping us with the frosting, with the
Exactly.
comments, with the next part of it, and how to create engagement in those comments. So we can't wait to
Thank
hear
you.
the next part of this.
I appreciate that. And while Bruno's bringing up the slides again, I want to take a trainer time out. And Cheryl, like when you said the content and the content cupcake, I literally have to tell this story. I myself am at a stage in my business to where I have enough money to do trial and error with running some advertising campaigns. And I literally thought of wearing a baker's outfit in one of my YouTube or Facebook or Instagram videos to talk about, to bring my point across with regards to everyone's a baker. And you've got to look at this as content cupcakes, and you got to have that frosting and sprinkles that appeals to your specific segment of society. So anyway, I thought I'd share that out loud and see if
No, I love it. Well,
anybody
let's
gets
take
a
it to
kick
the
out of it.
group. Kimberly is saying that she likes the cupcake ideas. So what do you all think? Should TR use that analogy and take it further in his ads? The baker and the cupcake and the plain cupcakes and the sprinkles and all of that. What do you think about that?
Cheryl,
Help him out.
let me rephrase that. Do you want to see me wearing a baker's outfit in an
Yes.
intro video or an ad in the near future? Right?
Much clearer. Absolutely. Much better. I
There we
wasn't sure if you
go.
were going to go there, but you are. And you're actually
Of
going to use
course.
the
I'm
whole
open
outfit.
game. I am
Mhm.
open game about adding as much value to as many people as possible during this webinar workshop. All right. So let me get back on track because I want to be mindful of time. And I want to share with you that the most massive mistake most people make when attempting to sell using social media is that they don't put things into perspective. They do not put things into perspective. So I'm going to encourage each and every person that showed up live here, Andra, Hopes, book marketing mentors with Suzanne Freeman, Iwa, Dr. Sunny. Who else do we have? We've got Leanne, Elizabeth, Sarah, Dr. Peggy, Daphne, Marianne Campbell. Everybody that's here live right now, I'm going to encourage you to shift your mindset. Shift your mindset. In other words, no longer look at social media as social media, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Do not look at it as technology. Do not look at it as social media. Look at each and every one of these platforms as a huge convention center. And you know what? Just like the other platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, what I want to do is paint a picture in your mind. Facebook is a huge trade show. They're hosting a huge trade show, and almost 3 billion people have been invited to that trade show, and they're walking up and down the aisles daily. So Ashley, Krista, Kimberly, the question that I have for you, if Facebook has nearly 3 billion people and LinkedIn has tons of people and Instagram has tons of people too, do you think that some of these people that are attending this trade show and walking up and down the aisles, do you think that some of them might be your prospects? I'm going to err on the side of saying hell yes. So the beauty about this is you've been gifted a free trade show booth by Facebook. So what I want everybody to do is type into the comment section, thanks, Mr. Zuckerberg, because he has blessed you and given you a free trade show booth. The opportunity to set up a free trade show booth and work that trade show booth daily and build your business by using that trade show booth. And again, I'm platform agnostic because I have come up with a process that I call cross cultivation campaigns. And what I mean by that is, yes, I'm using Facebook as an example. However, many of you, LinkedIn is potentially even more relevant. So don't mind the examples that I'm using. It is independent of any social media platform. I just want to get across the fact that you are encouraged to shift your mindset and look at any of these platforms like a trade show and look at your social media profiles as trade show booths. And when you look at your social media profiles as trade show booths, I am now going to ask you a series of serious questions, which is, have you laid down the red carpet yet to cover up that cold concrete floor in your trade show booth? Because after all, some business women still wear high heels to convention centers, and you're going to make it more appealing for them to step a little bit closer into your trade show booth if you cover up that cold concrete floor, add a little bit of padding, and lay down that red carpet. To continue along with this series of serious questions is, have you placed the banners in your trade show booth yet that will pique your prospect's interest? In other words, if someone's walking down the aisle and they look to the left and they look to the right, and on the right-hand side, they end up seeing a banner in the back of your trade show booth that piques their interest, that causes them to step closer, wouldn't that benefit you? Of course it would. Moving right along, have you placed a skirt on your table in your trade show booth that matches your company's corporate branding colors? Moving right along, have you placed brochures on the table in your trade show booth so that when the banner pulls them closer, the brochure keeps them there, right? If the banner captivates their attention, the brochure controls their attention. And when you work your trade show booth daily, that is when you can take them from captivation to controlling their attention to actually compelling them into action. So in other words, do you have brochures on your table yet that keep them there longer than 1 second? All right. And probably the most important question of all is, are you doing things daily that put calls on your calendar every single week? Because if you are not showing up to your trade show booth daily, forgive me for encouraging you to perform another reality check. And if you're not there working your trade show booth, your prospects, your prospective partners, and other professionals with podcasts in which you would make a wonderful guest, they're going to walk right past your trade show booth and they're going to go to your competitor's trade show booth. And I don't want that happening to you. Cheryl doesn't want that happening to you. The Big View team doesn't want that happening to you. And my guess is that you don't want that happening to you either. So you may recognize the hamburger helper icon on the left-hand side of your screen right now. And that's my signal to give you a helpful hint. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to look at each and every one of your profile posts through a slightly different lens from now on. In other words, look at your profile posts as banners and brochures for your trade show booth, and then ask yourself the following question. Am I just swapping out the same boring brochures month after month, or am I just creating the same boring brochures that all of my competitors are creating month after month and just hoping for a different type of result from what I've been getting? Pretty interesting reality check, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So here's the continuation of the helpful hint, which is, if no one's at your booth, if no one is showing up to your LinkedIn booth, to your Instagram, to your YouTube, to your Facebook, if no one's showing up to your trade show booth, then if this were in real life, you would walk around the convention center because you would be bored. But from a business perspective, you'd walk around the convention center and you'd attempt to drive traffic directly or indirectly to your trade show booth. Wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Of course you would. The most successful method as it relates to this specific idea that I've just introduced you to is visiting other people's trade show booths. Trainer timeout. Does everybody understand what I just shared with you? If you have crickets at your trade show booth and you want a crowd at your trade show booth, and you've already been sitting there for a couple hours at the beginning of the trade show and nobody's stopping by, it means that you have already tested a reactive marketing method to driving more traffic to your trade show booth. And I'm encouraging you to be proactive after a couple hours of sitting there and not getting results. Like, we don't want you to go insane, and we're encouraging you to be proactive. So leave your trade show booth and just walk up to other trade show booth owners and talk to them. And undoubtedly, that is going to increase your chances of them returning the favor when they take their break or walk past your trade show booth. So
TR, I have to tell you, this was such a great shift in mindset. And I agree with what Trinity Strategic Consulting said, which is what a fantastic shift in mindset. Because when you move it from your Facebook page or your LinkedIn profile, where maybe you're not getting comments or engagement, you just sort of maybe sometimes keep posting content over and over and let it sit. But when you make it into a real life situation, and we've all been to either a trade show, a convention center, a networking meeting, you're probably not going to sit in the same place if you're in those live situations. You're going to get up, maybe stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, say hi to people along the way. And I think this shift that you've helped us create in our own minds, I think will help us and it'll take us into the next level when we're out there creating content the next time. So thank you very, very much. That's really
you're
great.
quite welcome. I appreciate you speaking up and sharing what you're observing. And I appreciate everybody engaging in the comment section. With that said, let's engage one more time in the comment section and let's type in proactive versus reactive so that each and every one of you can come back to this video that's being hosted on Big View's YouTube page, and you can see some of the notes that I've actually inadvertently encouraged you to take on your behalf. And you can say, oh yeah, TR talked about proactive versus being reactive versus proactive. And if something isn't coming and landing on your lap at your trade show booth, you gotta be proactive. Love, love, love it. Okay, let's move forward with the slides right now. So what I want to do is, as we're coming close to the end of our time together, talking about this very timely topic, which is how to increase the eyeballs on and engagement with the content that you create using AI, what I've done is I've created an essential exercise. And I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to engage as much as possible while Cheryl and I go through this exercise with you right now. And I'm also going to encourage you to take action after this workshop and follow the essential exercise and perform the tasks that we're encouraging you to perform. So what I typically do in my Activate the Algorithm 8-week organic marketing intensive is I teach my clients to categorize their connections. So their Facebook connections, their LinkedIn connections, their Instagram connections, etc. One of the things that we do is assist them in focusing on the foundation of cultivating a relationship with their connections. So what I want to do is just throw out this concept right now, which is treat every relationship like an ATM, an automated telling machine, right? Where you get cash. So every relationship that you have online with other professionals could and should be treated as an ATM. You're either depositing into or withdrawing from that relationship at any given time. So now that we've set the stage, now that we've shifted your mindset to treating people like real people and not like transactions, right? Deposit, make relationship deposits, build up some social capital and social currency, right? All right, so let's move forward with the essential exercise. I teach my clients to categorize their connections in 3 specific categories: prospects, partners, and other professionals with platforms. If they don't make an effort towards categorizing their connections, they are leaving 66% of their opportunities on the table. Here's what I mean. What I mean is 100% of my LinkedIn connections are not going to buy from me. They shouldn't be in that category of prospect. If they're not a prospect, I move them to the category of partners, and I figure out the core criteria for prospects, and I figure out, does that connection meet my core criteria for a prospect? If they don't, then I perform the same task with partners, which is, does this connection that I have on LinkedIn meet my core criteria as a partner? If they don't, then I go to the third, which is, does this connection that I have on LinkedIn, do they meet my core criteria of someone that has their own podcast or platform, or do they have access or influence over someone else who does, right? So hopefully I'm expanding your understanding of looking at your connections through a different lens from today forward. Because if you're only looking at taking a prospect and turning them into a paying client, you're missing out on 66% of the other opportunities of taking someone who is a professional in your network and turning them into a referral partner. And I would much rather forfeit making money one day over one client than and have someone who can refer me a prospect every single month. Right?
Another
All right.
shift in mindset, TR, really, like another shift when you're really thinking about I know a lot of people say, oh, my list doesn't include buyers. They never buy from me. And I think you saying what you just did about prospects, partners, and platforms, you can look at your list or your social media following or people even in your personal circle as one of those three if they are not prospects. And it kind of opens your mind and how you help them think about how you help each other going forward. Bravo.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't want to get too off track, and I'm very mindful of the time. However,
Yeah.
I do want to mention to everybody that you're in good hands by being here with me and Cheryl and Big View. You know, again, my background is extensive. I've actually taught over 35,000 entrepreneurs how to use LinkedIn over the last 10 to 13 years. If you notice the color branded border around people's LinkedIn profile these days, when I began teaching LinkedIn in 2010, 11, and 12, everybody was still using it as a resume. And it was just words and it was boring. And I brought the concept of branding into remodeling your trade show booth because that's what I taught my clients, right? So don't be bland, don't be boring. Put a time block on your calendar after today's call to remodel your trade show booth, and then put time blocks on your calendar to show up and work your trade show booth daily. So moving right along, here is the essential exercise. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you in your mind to understand the exercise right now. And then after this workshop, begin this exercise. So the exercise is 3 specific parts. The first part is let's focus on prospects. I'm going to encourage you to list off the actual names of 3 particular prospects that are currently in your pipeline right now. Many of you already know the names of people who you've identified as a prospect. So write down the names of those 3 particular prospects as a way of performing this essential exercise. And then here's TR's tactic. Then open up LinkedIn, find them on LinkedIn, find their profile on LinkedIn, and comment on one of their posts. Because remember, marketing methodology number 4 is engagement-based marketing method. And it's the primary premise that, don't you agree that the more you engage with other people's posts, the more likely they are to engage with yours? So everybody's seeing how I'm bringing the pieces of the puzzle together as we bring this friendly conversation to a close right now. Let's move forward with part number 2 of the essential exercise. Write down 3 potential partners. In other words, people that you've identified that have access to your audience. And write down their names, 3 people, just start off small, right? Start off simple. 3 names of prospects and 3 names of potential partners. And TR's tactic is open up LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn, find them on LinkedIn, view their profile, and comment on one of their posts. And next up is identical for platforms. Identify someone that has a podcast or a platform that you want to be on, right? That you could and should be invited onto so you can expand your exposure and they can help you amplify your authority. Write down 3 names of podcast hosts or people that have Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups that might be able to do a LinkedIn Live with you or Facebook Live. Write down their names, and TR's tactic is go to LinkedIn, view their profile, find their most recent post, and comment on one of their posts. Now, we do this for 2 reasons. The first reason is activating the algorithm. You must teach the technology that there is a connection between you and that other individual. So not only on the human side of things, hi Ashley, not only on the human side of things does it just make good business sense and being truly authentic by personally commenting on someone's post, they're going to notice it. If no one else is commenting on their posts, Cheryl, don't you think if you and I comment on someone's post after like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours and they're just checking it and they're checking it and they're refreshing and no one's commenting, if you and I comment on their post, don't you think they're going to remember our names?
Absolutely.
It's about depositing relationship currency, right? Okay, so what I want to do is just point out, number one, it's just good business. It's being a good human being and it's being authentic. And number two, it's teaching the technology. Make sure that you teach Facebook, that you teach LinkedIn, that you teach Instagram behind the scenes, right? The computer code. Once you comment on someone else's posts, there is a connection made, and Facebook and LinkedIn starts looking around going, oh, Cheryl commented on TR's post. Oh, maybe I should pre-populate TR's post in Cheryl's feed because they are connected and they are engaging, right? Making sense. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Sunny. All right. So who wants to, here, let me go back here. Does everybody understand this exercise? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to put myself out there on a scale of 1 to 10. Will you please give a grade to how much value you received from today's conversation? Be honest. Type into the comments on a scale of 1 to 10, how much value have you received by me paying attention to each and every one of you in the chat box, calling out Susie's name, calling out Ashley's name, calling out Paul's name. I want you all to know that I sincerely care about your success as much as you care about your success. And so does Big View. That's why they reached out to me and hand selected me to teach you about this topic today. And so
you got some hundreds in there. Hundreds, you got a bunch of tens, you have a 20. Lots of big numbers there, TR. Congratulations.
There we go. And Hans he's wrapping up the call with his humor. He gave me a 9, but he said he's from Holland, so that's an American 10. All right, there we go. Love, love, love. Here, actually, I have another prop for that. Ha, 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 ha. All right, so let's bring this call to a close right now, which is you found value. Now, do you understand the essential exercise? So literally, just type in the comment section, I understand. 2 words, I understand. If you understand engagement-based marketing is rooted in relationships and the revenue is in the relationships, and you understand the essential exercise to help you actually implement engagement-based marketing, just type I understand into the comment section right now, and I will ask you one final question. Who wants to learn how to use automation and AI to actually perform the essential exercise for you? Does anybody want to use automation and AI to actually implement engagement-based marketing for you so that it helps you increase the eyeballs on and engagement with the content you're creating using AI? Yes, yes, yes. Me, please. Me, please. Me, please. All right. So as I begin to wrap up, I simply want to introduce each and every one of you to Conversation Copilot. My gift for you today is I am gifting each and every one of you a free training and a free trial to my brand new AI-based app called Conversation Copilot. It's the only AI-based app carefully crafted to help you activate the algorithm and teach the technology in your favor so that you can expand your exposure by increasing the engagement that you're having. In other words, use Conversation Copilot as your engagement engine. And you can get that by going to bit.ly/Big View Interview. https://bit.ly/Big View Interview.
How generous of you, TR. That is wonderful. And people, in the chat are really, really excited to check this out. And in fact, Trinity Strategic Consulting said, I was just thinking about the value of me subscribing to Big View and what a great ROI in less than a month. And this software that you're sharing with us kind of takes it to that next level. There are different software platforms, but definitely when you're thinking about using AI and creating automation and creating relationships, you are offering something that can really help them. And so we can always see, we already can see that people are scanning that QR code. So awesome. I can't wait to
They
check
are
it out.
they are very complementary. And
Yeah.
we started off with KISS. Let's end with KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart, which is you can use Big View's AI assistant to write your scripts for you and create content. You can even use a feature and a functionality built into Big View to literally hit the button, push the button. They've got push button functionality, and it will take your content and it will actually place it onto LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So once the content is there and you've created the content and it's out there, then yes, you can either manually implement the engagement-based marketing method that I taught you today to activate the algorithm in your favor, or you could consider using Conversation Copilot, which will assist you in commenting on other people's posts, which will activate the algorithm and drive even more traffic to the content that you started, that you created using Big View's AI assistant script writing feature and functionality.
Oh, that's awesome. And I wanted to call your attention to the chat. There is a free 7-day trial of Big View. There's a link in the chat if you're interested in checking out Big View. And I learn about Big View every day. Honestly, I've been using it for several years, but it's just, it gets better and better. And I really enjoy the functionality of Big View. And I'll definitely check out Conversation Copilot and see how they can work together to create that engagement that TR has so generously talked about. All right, I know we've talked a lot about this today, so we're going to wrap it up. And I'm going to say, TR, thank you so much for your time, your expertise, for just a really fun conversation. Before we go, I just want to ask folks who are still with us today, what is your one takeaway? There's so many takeaways that TR left with us, but if you can type in the chat your main takeaway from what you learned from TR today, just post that in the chat, something that we can leave everyone with who are joining us. And you can, of course, watch the replay here on the Big View YouTube channel. Share the link with folks. It'll still be here. And as you can see in the chat, there are all the links to the Big View 7-day trial, ways to get in touch with TR, ways to get in touch with me, as well as the link to the Conversation Copilot app. TR, thank you so much for your time. Any last words you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
I simply want to say it is an honor and a privilege to be selected by Kevin and the entire team at Big View to share this timely topic with each and every one of you today. I'm thankful. I'm grateful for them bringing me in front of each and every one of you. And I hope that not only did you gain value from the actual core content that I conveyed through talking and through my slides, I hope that you also reverse engineer how I kept your attention the entire 60 minutes. In other words, quick trainer timeout, which is, did you notice that I used props and I had them handy? Did you notice that we encouraged you to engage with this actual training so that it made me feel more comfortable that I wasn't just speaking to a screen? So please model what works. I have a greater than 90 to 95% stick rate on my live webinars, even if they're over an hour, 90 minutes and 2 hours. Please reverse engineer how I kept your attention, and please stay in contact.
Love that. And people can find you best where? On LinkedIn. Is
Go to
that correct?
LinkedIn. Yep, just go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, request to connect with me. The important thing is if I said something that piqued your interest, please take the action and connect with me, and let's continue this friendly conversation.
Let me, before we go, read a couple of comments. Andrew said, these are takeaways from your presentation, TR. My trade show booth is not thinking big enough when it comes to prospects. Awesome. I know we're going to see big changes. Krista says, I still have so much to learn. I think we all do, but I think we're all learning it together. And this is a great place to start, the things that TR has helped us with. Hans says, seeing social media as a big convention center and my part in it as a booth. Everyone likes the content cupcake, by the way. So I think we're going to be seeing you in the chef's hat at some point in the future. And let's see, a lot of great jobs, and keep it simple, sweetheart. So thank you all for joining us, for these wonderful comments, for the great engagement. TR, thank you for your time, your energy, your knowledge, and Big View, thank you very much for the opportunity to bring all of us together. All right, until next time, you guys have a wonderful afternoon. Can't wait to see you all on social media. Feel free to connect with us on social media. Until next time, have a great afternoon. Bye, everybody. Can own any room you walk into and instantly show up as the leader in your space. Hi, I'm Cheryl Tan. I'm a former TV news anchor turned entrepreneur, and I love working with leaders to help them develop 3 pillars of communication success: messaging, presentation, and strategy. Does this sound like you? You aren't sure how to look professional on stage or on camera, and that impacts how confident you feel showing up at all. You don't know how to describe what you do simply and clearly. You are most certainly an expert in your industry, but you haven't figured out yet how to explain that better. And finally, you don't have a presence anywhere, or at least an online presence you're proud of, which means you need to figure out how you want to show up and what you need to do to create that platform. My custom plan focuses on your message, your presentation, and your strategy. Once those 3 things are working for you, you will get noticed by the right people and opportunities. The best way to see if we're a fit is to have a conversation. Go to CherylTanMedia.com/consultation to book a call. I can't wait to hear your story.
Teleprompter, create videos you're proud of. Easily trim your video by selecting the words where you want to start and end. Color your presentation with automatic subtitles and highlighting keywords. Add your brand logo. Add music for an emotional touch. Add your contact info on an animated business card on all your videos. Easily replace green screen with an image or a video loop. Stand out with a web page with your logo, your video at the center, and personalized button for visitors to interact. It's one tap to simultaneously upload your videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Always know what to say next with the Big View teleprompter.